Welcome to Mick and the Psychic, where we leave no stone unturned as we explore all things outside the apparent physical realm.
There is no intent to teach or make you believe or disbelieve anything. It is just a safe space to listen and explore with us.
So for this next episode, you have permission to open your heart and mind as you join myself and Xavier on this deep dive into the unknown.
The dumb dreams, they're the best. They're the best because we dismiss them. But the reason why you remember them, they're the ones you've got to work hard on.
This week's going to be a lot of fun because we're talking to someone that everyone wants at their barbecue or their party. It's someone that knows a lot about dreams. So today we have Rose Inserra. Rose has shared her knowledge of dreams and ancient mysteries with over 1 million readers worldwide. Her books and cards are sold internationally and distributed in the UK, United States, Canada, Europe, well, here in Australia as well. And they've been translated into French, Spanish, Flemish, and Bulgarian, which is fantastic. She's well known for her articles in mainstream print and online media, and even some TV interviews. And her podcasts have a wide and varied reach, including here on Mick and the Psychic. Rose, welcome to the show.
Hello. Hi.
This is exciting. I started it with everyone wants someone like you at parties. Do you get that often where someone finds out you're a dream expert and they go, I had a dream the other day. What does it mean?
Imagine.
All the time. Yeah, all the time, guys. All the time. Doesn't have to be a barbecue. It can be while I'm getting my hair done, or it can be literally anywhere. And it doesn't matter where I go, what part of the world I go to, they all have the same fascination with dreams. And everyone's got a dream to share. That's weird, by the way. That's really, really weird. But you know what? There's nothing that's weird in dreams. Nothing.
It's not, because anything's kind of possible, I guess. Would you see it as, I'm interested, so do I start this deep? I don't know.
I don't know, I've got some deep questions like straight off the bat, but yeah.
It is kind of weird. It's like dreams do feel quite different to reality at times. Do you think that part of the dream realm is a different realm to this realm that we live in here? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's interesting you use the word realm. So basically, when our bodies are resting, our ethereal bodies or our spiritual bodies or whatever you want to call it is away, is out of there. So even though our bodies are there, where part of us is not there, and we go wandering around picking up amazing energies and stories, and we go places. So I mean, you said we can start as deep as you want. We can do astral travel, for example. I mean, people love astral travel, lucid dreaming. Like, it's just an amazing experience that you can have. Communicating with guides, seeing people who have passed on. And the shamanistic dreams are just amazing, where you have your soul retrieval, where you can actually go and find where parts of you are broken and you can bring those back. So yeah, so if we want to start deep, well, that's as deep as it goes, and that's the most fascinating part of dreams, other than, I dreamt that, I couldn't find a toilet. That's a common dream. My teeth falling out.
Childhood, wetting the bed, always going to the toilet in a dream and wetting the bed. Confession.
Yep.
Yeah.
So polar opposites, right? So polar opposites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. So are you then always dreaming at night then, or when you're saying soul retrieval and stuff, are you just meditating while you're asleep, or are you channeling? Is it actually a dream? Like, is there a difference, like, from dreams? Is there like a standard dream and there are levels or something, like types? Like, that's a dream, but then that's a lucid dream. When you're a lucid dream, for the viewers, is that, I would just say, that's when you're aware that you're dreaming at the time and you're like, oh, that's weird. And then there's another level, could be, what's next, astral travel or something in between?
Sometimes you can have them simultaneously. You can start, because the night is long. The night is long, and you can start with just your basic toilet dream, as you had, and move on to lucid dreaming and think, oh, hello, this, I know I'm dreaming because I had this similar dream last night and it got to this part. Sometimes you finish dreams, right? And you can do amazing things when you can say, oh, what if I let myself go through that wall? And you can actually make yourself do that in lucid dreams when you practice and you know that enough. And then, as you say, another level up. So once your mind is okay with that, because a lot of the times we hold ourselves back, you think, what the hell is happening? I'm not going to go there, right? So then when you're more comfortable with that, then your brain says, all right, it's safe. You can astral travel now. And then people find themselves in situations and places which are inexplicable. Two people living in the same house, having the same dream at the same time. I mean, that's quite spooky. So being in the same dream space, how is that? How can that happen? And yet it does, because we do live in, it's almost a parallel universe. As I said, our ethereal bodies leave us when our physical bodies are indeed asleep and recuperating and, you know, sort of regenerating, because we need our sleep for that. Yeah.
So is it when your body is, or maybe not so much body, but your mind is out of the way enough that you can then tap into these other realms? Because I know some people, okay, this is Nick and the psychic, so I do a show with a psychic. You know, some people are in touch with those realms a little bit more while they're awake. When you're asleep, is that just where the everyday person, the average Joe, can get out of their own way and experience these other, I don't know, realms or existences? Is it just the sleep that helps us to experience that?
Well, yeah. So you're right. You've touched on a couple of things, but you're absolutely right. We have to get out of our own way. And the only way we can do this is through this deep sleep state, which is called, I don't know if you've heard of it, it's called REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep. That's when you're really dead to the world. You know, that's one of the cycles in our sleeps that we go to. And what they found is that in the brain, that is a really active time in your brain. When your body is, it's like, I won't say comatose, but it's totally paralyzed. You could not get up at that time, right? Even if there was a crash at your door, you may not hear it, but the brain is really hyperactive. That is the time when all these experiences in the dream state really kicks in. So we need that time, and that's when we regenerate. That's when we, as you say, we get out of the way and we let things process through, like, oh, what's been happening at work? Why have I been so stressed? And you might have this horrible dream that there's this shadow chasing you with a knife and trying to get you, and you're running off, and it's just terrifying. And that is your worry. That is like your fear that's personified as a shadow, and at that time. So by processing that, and even though it's a bit scary, then you got it out of your system. So then you freshen up, your body goes, okay, reset. And then when you go back into your real world, you're kind of fresh. You start afresh. Yeah. And then, of course, you could go deeper in again. And as you say, I don't know if you've seen the movie Inception, which is all about dreams. You know, it's all these layers upon layers upon layers, right? And it just does your head in, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The dream within a dream, and then they're catching someone in a dream inside a dream. It hurts. But yeah.
Yeah, so does that make sense? And sort of explain a little bit about the dream state. I mean, it doesn't sound exciting at this stage that we're talking, but it's an altered state. And what people don't realize is we sleep for 25 years on an average. So if you're 75, they talk about 25 years that you actually sleep. And within those 25 years, there's 7 years that we dream. So we have 7 years of our lives, right, that we can't account for, you know. And so you think, what could be happening in my mind that I don't know about?
Where am I going? Yeah. Sometimes I know I've slept all night and I feel the psychic part of me, I know when I wake up that I've been busy doing stuff. I've just been off. So I don't know if I've astral traveled, or my consciousness is in different places, or I'm just connecting with my higher self, or what I'm doing, but I know I've been busy. I've woken up tired, but I had 10 hours or 8 hours sleep. I know my body's rested, but I feel exhausted, like I've been really busy. And I don't know, like other people, just because I'm psychic doesn't mean it just happens to psychic people. There'll be people, like Michael said, average Joes It's just
Yeah.
everyday people. You don't have to be a psychic to do that, but you just might not be aware. They might just think they just had a rough night and tossed and turned more than they thought, but we're all busy doing things. Like the people that say they don't dream. Is that true? Because some people say they don't dream, but I believe that everybody dreams. They just don't remember the dream. Is that right?
That's absolutely right. Even your dog dreams and your cat dreams.
I love when they dream. It's so cute. I always wonder what they
know. Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, we all dream. And I know people say to me, well, how can I talk to you about dreams if I don't remember them?
That's a good point.
It is tricky. It's so tricky, isn't it? You know, trying to remember them. That there's little tricks of the trade you can do to try to help. And as you get older, it's really harder.
Yeah. When you get older, it's harder, did you say?
Yeah. It's something about the brain sort of just shutting down different parts of our memory, because it is a particular pathway that is affected. And so it's like keeping your brain really healthy, because if you don't keep it healthy, it just tends to atrophy, and the dreams are loose. They're forgotten. They're there, but you just totally forget them a lot more.
And maybe my brain's healthy. Because I'm someone who will have this really detailed dream, and I'm thinking, wow, I want to, in the dream, I said, wow, I want to tell, because my fiance's name's Daniel, I want to tell Daniel all about that when I wake up. And as soon as I wake up, it's gone. Frustrates the crap out of me. He'll tell me 5 dreams in a row consecutively that he just had. He remembers everything.
Well, there's your problem. He's just told you about his dreams, and then
I try to start.
Yours now. Yeah,
I'll try to start, or in the middle of the night, I don't wake up enough. I think I've tried writing it down or recording it, but then I'm too tired to function to sit up to do that. Other times I'll remember all the details, and it sounds like such a dumb dream. I thought, why have the dumbest dream ever? I just remembered everything about why that one, when I know last night I had a really interesting dream and it's gone. Maybe I'm not supposed to know what it's about, or I should just channel the answer or something. I don't know. So what are your ideas?
So look, the fact that you had the dream, sometimes we don't have to remember absolutely everything, right? We don't need to remember all our dreams.
Right.
The fact that you had that dream, it stays in you, right? It stays in you, and it comes.
I just got goosebumps when you said that. Yep, that makes sense.
Right? You've ingested this. It's come from the realm into you.
Like a download. Yep. Okay.
Exactly. It's a download. So it doesn't matter. You get out of the way, just like Nick said earlier. Get out of the way of the dream. Let it do what it needs to do.
Okay.
Because you're doing the work anyway. The dumb dreams, they're the best. They're the best because we dismiss them. But the reason why you remember them, they're the ones you've got to work hard on.
Okay.
They're the symbols. It means pay attention to me. Hello, I'm speaking to you. Bring it into the consciousness. Yeah, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
I can hear a bunch of people, listening to this later, like going, oh, right, so those dumb dreams, I should pay attention. And God, so many questions. Sorry, Mick, I've got like 20 questions if you want to ask.
No, there's 50 still there. That's fine. I'll just let them tick away. That's the atrophy. As soon as you said the brain gets atrophy, I'm just like, yeah, I've spent too much time doing this.
Daring, yeah.
And so just for those that are watching the podcast, Rose is in the country, so the screen keeps getting stuck in place. Where it looks like I'm stuck in place, that's just because I've got atrophy and I'm just thinking of the next question. So don't adjust your TV sets. It's interesting because we went very deep early, and we'll come back to it, I'm sure. But one of the things we talked about is talking about these different stages of dreams, and there's almost like there's a belief out there that some people have that it's like a practice thing. You can practice and get better at I don't know, remembering dreams, or like you talk about. Let's just one at a time. Let's talk about lucid dreams where your awareness is in the dream state. Is that something that you can practice to get good at, or are there things you can do to activate that? Just give us some info on that, because it's always been interesting to me. Like, how would someone do that?
Have you ever lucid dreamed yourself, Mick?
Yes, I have. It was a very strange sensation knowing that you're in a dream, but I was able to respond in the dream, but I wasn't able to control what was happening in the dream, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Which was quite it was a really strange, it was a really nice feeling as well, even though I don't remember what was happening. It wasn't great, but it was a nice, I don't know, it felt very different.
Yeah. That's why I wanted the answer, that you know when you're doing it, because it's very different. And are you the sort of guy who meditates or does any sort of slowing down of the brain waves a little bit? Yeah.
Yeah, so I do a lot. I've done meditation for 15 years or so. I'm training to be a meditation teacher, and I'm a hypnotherapist. So altered states is like my thing.
Yeah. So your brain is actually really happy that you can do lucid dreaming. It lends itself to it because you've trained it, even though you don't think you've trained your brain.
Yeah.
But knowing that you've been in meditation and hypnotherapy, you have actually trained your own brain. Even working on others, you've trained your brain to go to that place. So it already finds its way in there. Whereas some people who are beginners, like the brains go, what the hell's happening? I'm not happy with this. This is doesn't feel safe. I'm not going. So you're already one step ahead. So if you're a person who meditates, can slow down your brain wave and your breathing, and you can, sometimes there's a state before you go to sleep where you're just relaxing. It's the bit where you kind of like jerk sometimes out of it, and you're just falling asleep. You feel that gut, your tummy kind of drops. Have you had that sensation before? Yeah. That is also you're still awake. You're not asleep yet, but it's that state you can go into, that sleep state. So there are different states where your brain is most receptive for you to go into your lucid dreams. So you're saying to me, well, how can you manufacture that if it's not natural? Right, basically. So you're right. You train the brain. You train yourself every day. With lucid dreaming, you have to train yourself to look, is it reality? Is it real? Or is it a dream? Because when you're in that space, do you know how many people are terrified of staying stuck in their lucid dream because they really think it's real, because they feel it like, oh my God, I can feel myself, I can feel what's going on. And so because they're stuck in that dream, you have to know the reality. So one of the tricks that you do is a lot of people push their finger through their hand, and during the day you go, okay, it's not happening. Right? Yeah.
Okay, good. Just checking. This isn't an inception thing. Great.
Yeah. And during the day, you check that so you know. And then when you go in your lucid dream, you check that. And if it goes through in your lucid dream, because your brain is not functioning in the same way as your everyday brain, then you know you are in a lucid dream, because it's so real. It's so real. You wouldn't know it otherwise.
I've never
had.
So
it's all these tricks. You haven't had one?
No, I've never had the thought that it wasn't a dream. I've just been aware of it. So I've lucid dreamed quite a lot, but I always know it's a dream straight away. And I laugh at, why am I dreaming about this? But I haven't been able to teach myself how to, like I know I've been reading a book by an astral traveler, and he teaches astral travel. And he says, you got to find that weird thing in the room when you're lucid dreaming, or something like something that's a little bit out of place, a little bit different, and it might be a doorway or something that you decide to go through. But I'm trying to practice that when I lucid dream, to kind of look for the thing, but I sort of forget. I just know I'm dreaming, but that's about as far as it gets. So I'd love to know a tip for that next step, if you've got one too, how you can figure out how you can make decisions. I don't know, just sort of forget to do when you're in it, I think.
Yeah, you do. So you can just be an observer in a lucid dream and go, oh, okay, well, this is fun. Or you can be actively participate in it. And that's the next step. As you say, you want to do something in there that's in your dream, but you're controlling it, right?
Yes, haven't got there yet. Yep.
So again, a lot of practice. And it is about, so, you do visualization. So you have I've done this myself. You have a candle and you close your eyes until the candle is so real that it's in you. You can open your eyes and all you see is a candle. You can have it closed, and you practice what's real and what isn't. There's a candle there. And it's practicing with all the different objects around. And you set an object up in your dream. So it's called setting an intention, right? So you set it up, right? In that dream, I'm going to have, I don't know, a pot plant with a pink poppy in the middle. And you set it up, and your brain goes, okay, I'm going to set. And it's funny, as you know, Mick, as a hypnotherapist, you can make those suggestions, and the brain will lend itself to that. It's open to that.
Mm-hmm.
But you set it up and you do it nightly. You don't just do it once. You've got to do it over and over until it becomes a practice, until when you are asleep, you will see that pot plant with a poppy in it. And then that's your portal into...
That's the portal. That's the word I was trying to think of that he referred to, the portal. Thank you.
So you set up the object in your mind. So you practice this night after night after night. So for everyone that's going to practice this with me, it's not necessarily going to work on the first night. But you continue to practice to visualize something that you can perhaps easily imagine. Maybe you can imagine the textures really easily. Don't come up with something ridiculous that you can't fully get all the detail in.
Something you would recognize.
And you imagine that thing. So is this while you're in bed before you go to sleep?
Look, it's preferable, or if you're meditating. If you're just having, as I said, your brainwave has to be slow enough. You can't do it in the, when you're busy or you're reading. It has to be at a time when your breathing slows down, your brainwaves slow down, so the brain is receptive.
Yeah, it's a correlation as well when you're going back into that state again.
Exactly.
So if you wanted to do it, would it work if, say, you were in a hypnotic state and you, in that hypnotic state, then set that intention that there's going to be a certain thing, and as when I see that in my dream, I recognize that that's the portal, I'm in a dream, and now I can follow through. Is that something where you could actually set up in some kind of, I don't know, guided meditation or hypnotic session to help someone get into that state?
Yeah, I think that's perfect, Nick. I think you've described it perfectly. It's even more ideal because it's more structured.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
So once you got that thing, what happens? So let's say the pot plant with the poppy. Yeah, we're in.
What do we do? Do you touch it and disappear, or do you go to it?
How does it work?
What happens if you find your portal?
Well, they always say you've got to leave it up to the dream. So you can control it to a certain extent, but what do you want to achieve out of it? The dream is a message. It's a message from deep within. Sometimes it's a collective message. If you force it, go, when I touch this, it's like a touchstone. When I touch this, I become Superwoman, or I can have X-ray vision, or whatever it might be. It doesn't work because you're controlling where you want to go. It's like we don't have those superpowers. But what it does say is I am opening myself to whatever there is for me to receive.
That's what I was just thinking. You could have that in with the intention that when I find this pot plant with a poppy or whatever it is, that when I touch it or go to it, I will be shown whatever I need at this time, or I'll be guided to some advice, or just be open to it, anything.
Yeah, and then the dream will take over. The dream will take you where you need to be, even though it may be symbols you don't understand. But that's how dream works. You can't just control it to go where you want it to go. What's the point of a dream then?
Yeah. That's exciting. I think some people are going to be doing some homework.
One of the things in hypnosis, so that I'm not influencing the hypnotic session, is, and that the person doesn't try too hard, because as soon as you try too hard, you actually lose control. You can't do anything. It just doesn't work. Is that I get the person to allow the visual or whatever is happening to come as if all by itself. So it's that kind of expectation without not being in control of what it's going to be. So expecting something to happen, but waiting to see what that is rather than trying to imagine it. So it's that same thing when you've got that your little intent portal that you've made up in your mind. Yeah, it's about when you see that that's it for the control, then you allow that whatever comes up to come up.
That's exactly right. That's all you do. Just you have to go with it and set the intention to remember it if you can. And that's the other, that goes hand in hand, I guess. I mean, sometimes I say you don't have to remember it, but if you want that experience to carry on the next day, in your everyday life, you can set yourself that intention and say, and I will remember this. As I said, you just self-talk. But yeah, you've described it perfectly, Nick. It's exactly as it should be. It's that welcoming, but not forcing it. Expecting it, but not, again, controlling it.
This is a freaky thing. So I know nothing about dreams and lucid dreaming and what to do. This is just, again, themes coming up with all sorts of different altered states. So we've talked about channeling, we've talked about hypnosis, we've talked about meditation. And now we're talking to you about dreams. It's like I know what I'm talking about. I don't. It just
Oh,
happens to be
yeah,
the same
yeah.
kind of thing, which is freaky and wonderful
It's
at the
awesome.
same time.
Yeah.
So the purpose then of this lucid dreaming, what's the point of a lucid dream?
Good question. What is the point? What is the point? Why is the brain allowing this?
Yeah.
Well, because it wants this experience to be lived within. That's exactly what it is. It's a deeper experience than, as I said, just your toilet or dream. That it's at level 1. It's experiencing that, so it has a transformative effect on you and on your life. And so people who experience this a lot more, as I said, it changes the synapses of the brain if you do it constantly. So it puts you in a more meditative state and a more accepting state. So you change, you're a different person. I won't say you change as a person, but you deal with life a lot better than if you were always in this fight or flight mode that we're in, because a lot of our dreams are about anxieties and fears. I'd say 80%. That's a lot.
But really, you're releasing, you're relaxed in that sleep mode, so things are coming up that you haven't been able to deal with. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What about I hope this it's my take of topic, what about repetitive dreams? Because I know lots of people, including myself, might have the same dream over and over. I had one that was exactly the same. I have 2 different ones, exactly the same for years as a kid. So does that have a different meaning when you have the same dream all the time? Is that just something, anxiety or something that's not healed, and then it stops when you finally figure it out in your waking life, or is there some other message behind it?
Good question. So they're called recurring dreams. And so you don't have to share all the details, but I'll really be interested to see when those dreams have come up, because it's about the when, not the what. The what is after the
what. I know, I just remember I was a child with both of them. So one is a scary dream that happened all the time. And I know some of the images came from different things. Like we used to go to a movie store back when you hired VHS videos at Blockbuster. And there was a scary Santa with a axe or something, and he was in the dream. Anyway, so it's this dream, and I can see the themes about it. I can kind of tune in myself and figure out, but me and my cousin that I didn't even know were running away from this scary person, and he was trying to kill us, and we'd stop and throw rocks at him and stop him from getting us. And then I'd look up this skyscraper building, and there'd be that scary Santa just watching us, and that's someone I thought was meant to be jolly and nice, but he was just watching and not caring. And then my parents would rock up on the Batmobile. Stupid. And people hate hearing other people's dreams, so I'm so sorry for telling you.
No, just a couple of images.
So my parents would show up on the Batmobile with one of my brothers, the other brother was too young, and there was a seat. They were in the seats, and my brother was on a wing with a belt on. There was a spot for me, and I would run up. My cousin would get killed by the bad guy as I was running there. And then I would nearly get to the Batmobile, and they wouldn't wait for me to drive off, even though there was a spot for me. They drove off every time. And that was my dream. And I'd have that for years as a kid, being left for dead. And I never knew. I'd always wake up before he got me, of course. So then I just have the dream again and again and again.
So how long did that last for? Have you had him as an adult, or have you always just had him as a kid?
I can't. I don't think I was even a teenager. I can't remember the exact age. It could have been from about 8 to 10 or 11 or something. It's really hard to remember now. I just remember all that I can see it in my head.
It's amazing you remember it all. Yeah.
I had that dream so many times, probably every night for years. So
wow. I'm just jotting a couple of notes. I love it. Dream interpretation.
Well, I hope you would.
I get so excited when I hear it.
Yeah, we said barbecues and things, and now we can add podcasts to the list. Good one,
I know lots
Xavier.
of people have recurring dreams, so I'm just wondering, is there a reason for that? Yeah, what the reason is, because I'm good now. Obviously, I don't have that dream anymore, and I can kind of guess what some of those themes are. But you're the specialist.
I just love how the mind works. I just love how the mind works, and I love your images, by the way. So I think there's a little bit of abandonment issues and feel worried about being abandoned and neglected with the Batmobile. The parents are the superheroes and they leave you behind. How dare they? So very much, what you would feel at that age, but something's obviously triggered. And the bad Santa You know, it's like betrayal, like the person, the most perfect
Yeah,
person,
yeah, the
nice
child
guy.
realizes, yes.
So betrayal and abandonment would have been two main things you were feeling in those years for whatever reason. And those are the images that came to you from the dream to tell you this is how you're feeling. But you're going to be okay because you woke up before the dream was ended badly, right? So it was saying, you'll be fine. You're feeling like this, but don't worry, you'll be fine.
Right.
So recurring dreams are really about emotions that are stuck, emotions. When I say stuck, as you said before, you need to heal those emotions. You need to work through them because they come back as nightmares. So with children, if they're not looked at carefully, the nightmares get worse. And with adults, usually they come up the next time you've got those same issues. They come up bigger and worse and scarier and more frustrating than the previous time. So the idea is the recurring dream is it's on loud. It's dreams that are really saying, listen, if you don't do something about it, I'm going to come back scarier until you deal with what it is that you're not dealing with.
Right.
And so it will stop once people sort of work out what it is and they change it. And also, it's a really good clue to think, okay, I'm starting a new job, and you dream that you're being chased by something, or you fall off a cliff. Your teeth fall out at the same time, and you lose your toilet, or you lose the train you're supposed to go. I mean, it's everything, all the nightmares, all the fears. And you go, oh, God, it's that blasted dream again. And it's because you're feeling those emotions again, those same emotions. So you need to look at those emotions and heal them as much as you can. Yeah.
Mate, that's kind of what I do in hypnotherapy. So that's why it's so strange to hear that. We do this naturally through our dreams as well, which is fantastic. So you don't need me, just, deal with whatever your dreams coming up. You don't need me for that. It's great.
The reoccurring dream, I could have come to see you to help, but I was little. I didn't
That
know.
happens. No, that happens. So
And
people
help
come.
you emotion release to help, then they don't have the dream anymore.
That's been like a byproduct from sessions where I've had sessions with people and they've had this recurring dream and they're like, hey, this dream's gone away now. So that makes sense.
Right. Yep. Awesome.
Okay, so we've got recurring dreams, and often they're about emotions or stuck emotions, and it's a part of ourself that's trying to get our attention. Obviously, with a recurring dream, you haven't dealt with it. What about people? What about when you have dreams around an event that's actually happened? So, thinking of people with PTSD, people that have come back from battle situations, or, people from
Like
war-torn countries. Yeah, like they get the flashbacks, they're back in the trenches or they're back in that city again and can't find their way out. Is that a processing thing, or is that something that's just stuck in the mind? What do you see with those dreams?
Yeah, well, it's an interesting question because this is the fine line between psychology and dream interpretation. So this is a serious thing where the brain has been damaged. The trauma has damaged the brain in some way because you are stuck there and it's held. And I actually spoke to a Vietnam vet, who even now remembers what happened in battle. And he said, I don't know how many drugs I'm on medication drugs. I go to my shrink, I do everything. Every night, it's the same, and it keeps going. And I said, well, perhaps don't talk about it as much. He said, the suggestion is that you keep talking about the same thing until you kind of push it out. He said, but it's not working. My brain's too damaged. So sometimes it's like the more you talk about it and want to explore it and look at all the symbolism or look at the feelings, the worse it is for the brain because it's been attacked again. Those brain synapses are being attacked all the time and it's protecting itself, right? And so this loop, it's this horrible loop. I know there is something called a treatment, a psychological tool called EMDR. You would have heard of it, Mick, right? So that is a way of treating trauma in a psychological way. So through dreams, it's like, okay, it's reassuring yourself that I've experienced this, but I'm now safe. It's all about the safety aspect. Setting the intention, all those things are really good. But in this case, if it's a really bad trauma or it's abuse or it's violence, you really need to get that psychological help because it's deep trauma and the brain is really affected badly. Right.
That's really good to bring up, because we see reoccurring dreams and we talk about it when there's a lot of symbols and stuff. But then some people, relive traumatic events over and over again. That can be something else. It's not saying so. Don't, if you've got someone that's having traumatic recurring dreams, don't go there and tell them, hey, it's fine. It's just, you just need to process, the emotion that's there. There can be different things with that. Yeah.
If one thing isn't working for you over a long time, it might be an alternative therapy that they might want to try instead if something's not happening. Like, it sounds like something that Nick, for example, would be amazing at helping with. And then a psychic like me might be able to help different people in different ways by just clearing the energy without them having to talk about it. So everyone goes to what they're guided.
There's so many different ways, and what works for some people doesn't work for others. It's really hard. Yeah. So I just lost my question. That's fine. You can use one of yours.
Well, I know. So generally, people would, like, if they had a dream and they're curious about, they see different things, you jump on Google or whatever and you type in dreamt about my teeth falling out, like I mentioned before, and dreamt about flying. That's a big one. Lots of people fly in their dreams. So, and they look up what it means, and then you click on 20 different websites and they all say bloody different things, and it's confusing. I can just imagine what the dream specialist here has to say about some of those, like how accurate would some of the...
Yeah, what are the common ones? Just tell us some, like, what are the common things that come up and their meanings? Yeah.
Or does it mean it's more important about, I did read in one of the many pages, is it's more about how you felt in the dream with what was happening, rather than, like, how did it make you feel rather than what actually happened. Is that part of it? Because you can't put everyone in the same box, I would think. Of the
yes,
same.
you can. Yes, you can. Do it, Rose.
I was in a car, and were you driving the car? Were you a passenger?
No, let Rose put everyone in a box, please. People want a simple answer. What does dreaming of snakes mean? What does flying mean? Just give us some themes. Give us some themes.
Rose, and not look it up. Let's go.
All right.
Let it go.
Okay, so yes, it is, first of all, to answer your question quickly, Xavier, yes, how you feel really determines the type, the dream meaning, right? But that's also, like, they're all scary and they're all weird. So how do you then, as Mick said, how do you pull those apart and say, well, there are commonalities? So yes, there are commonalities, but it's the dreamer really is the only interpreter. The dreamer really knows what it means to them, but you need a little bit of guidance to get there. Yes. Well, you might have 20 meanings, but at least you've got 20 questions you can ask yourself, like, is this what it could be? So just to go through a couple, we talked about the teeth falling out. That is the most common dream out of them all. It's weird, isn't it? I don't know if you guys
had that one.
You haven't had that one?
No.
I haven't had that one. My teeth have stayed in.
Yeah, never had it.
So what does that generally mean?
Okay, so just looking at quick symbols. So first of all, let's go to the feeling. How do you feel? Oh my gosh, you're standing in front of people, all of a sudden they crumble, they fall, you choke on them. Your public persona is like, oh God, what are people going to think? So that's the first thing, is embarrassment, shame, feeling disempowered, losing your confidence. Now that is exactly what the dream is trying to tell you in a vision. So because your teeth represent, what do they represent? Okay, the first thing you do is smile. So imagine no teeth, you smile, broken teeth or no teeth at all, you're going to feel self-conscious, and you're not going to be able to speak properly. And it's all about clarity and speaking your truth and being listened to.
Wow.
And that's what it's all about. It's also, again, going back to empowerment. You notice that babies in the old days, before we had dentures, old people didn't have teeth. So they were the most vulnerable, and therefore you feel vulnerable. So at a time you have this dream, you have all these emotions, and the visual representation, the symbol the dream's giving you, is the teeth falling out. It's saying, this is how you're feeling right now. It's not the truth, but it feels as if this is what's happening for you. So you take away the meaning by taking away the emotion and go, I get it now. And it usually comes up at a time, as I said, that's stressful for you. As I said, whether it's a new job, moving house, it's a fairly big milestone that these dreams come up in, right? Like coming on the show today, it's like, could have had that dream last night. It's just I know. Yeah, exactly. You mentioned snakes. Those snakes are just like
Yeah.
An amazing symbol of dream. Practically everyone has a snake dream. Look where we live. We live in a country that we have the most poisonous snakes in the world. So in our conscious life, when we watch TV, it's like, oh, there's a snake in the toilet. There's a snake coming into the house through the front door. There's pythons, there's brown snakes. I mean, I live in the country and I do see them around the place. So we're on high alert. There is danger, and you may not see this danger, but there's danger all around you. So what the dream, that we're programmed to think that that's what a snake is to me. Then there are snake lovers, and they go, oh, snake to me is a symbol of healing, which originally that's what it was.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you shed your skin like a snake sheds its skin for rejuvenation, transformation, all those things. Like that's at a higher level. So your first level is scary stuff. Watch out. There's a snake in the grass. We look at language, when people say, oh, here's a snake in the grass, you've got to be careful. Or that person's such a snake, like venomous. So the absolute negative thoughts. And then we get into the next level, which is healing, as we talked about. And again, snakes also about wisdom. So when you look at the esoteric meaning, that it has so many layers, but it's usually, how do we feel in that dream? If you're feeling terrified, well, what fears are there in your life that, again, you're not aware of? The silent fears, they're the quiet threats in your life. And that's what it's alerting you to. Yeah. But if you are, a psychic, you're much more aware of the wisdom that comes when you see your snake, it's telling you there is more wisdom coming your way. Yeah.
Interesting. I did have a dream. And that's what made me start having a dream book, start writing things down, because I felt it was important. I don't feel great around snakes. I'm fairly wary around snakes, and I would never pick one up ever. And in this dream, I was around a really big tree. Oh, here we go again. Oh no, I'm so sorry. No, don't worry. Oh, you can't go anywhere. What does this mean?
Yeah, just do it.
Not that I don't know what it means or I don't care, whatever. But around a very big tree, and there was quite a large snake there, and I picked up the snake to hold the snake, and I wasn't scared of the snake at all. And it was quite a large snake as well, and I was with other people as well. And I needed to put the snake down, and as I threw the snake away, it came back and bit me, but it wasn't frightening and it didn't hurt and it wasn't a problem, and I was able to do whatever it is I was able to do still. So it didn't even bother me that it came back and bit me. Whereas in real life, if I have had a snake attack me, it was really frightening. So it's like, it's interesting. So in that case, because I wasn't scared of the snake, it probably wasn't a fear then, even though it came back and bit me.
That's a good bite. That's actually a good bite. You've just described what the shamans would say. I just had an absolute vision when you said that. You've got the tree of knowledge. The tree is the tree of knowledge.
Okay.
Right? And the tree of life. That's the first tree. And then you've got the large
I didn't eat the apple. That's good. That's
all
the Christians listening, I didn't eat the apple, I promise.
The apple. But, these are ancient symbols that predate Christianity and Judaism. It goes even way, way back, right?
That's where they got it from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So really, we talk about the tree of life and the snake being, as I said, a transformative symbol. When a snake bites you, it's giving you its power. What you received was the kiss of the snake, even though it came as a bite. And sometimes a bite is to snap you out of it. So the shamans would say when you get bitten in a dream by a totem animal, because the snake, the rainbow serpent, as you know, is highly regarded in the Indigenous culture. And a snake is also highly regarded in all Indigenous shamanic cultures as the bringer of wisdom. So at that moment, you were granted a gift. You were granted a gift.
There you go.
He tried to give it away. He tried to reject it, and then it came back and said, "No, we're giving you this gift." Interesting.
You have the gift of healing.
Yeah.
I'm getting goosebumps now.
Yeah, me too. I'm
so special.
Downloading stuff.
So special. So
That's
special.
not what this was meant to be. It's like, all right, I'm going to be selling tickets to my show next week. Thanks, everyone.
The example you're giving, it's just beautiful, because it's just teaching people who might not have thought about their dreams that much, that our bodies, our minds, our souls, whatever it is, let's do it. Like it's helping us on so many levels. And the dream state is just another way that we can learn more about ourselves, and realize what needs healing, what might need some attention. So if you're having dreams that scare the crap out of you, teeth falling out, or similar theme would be probably when those dreams that people were naked in front of a bunch
what's
of
that
people.
one? Can we move to that? I want to start going through, because people are going to want to know, because I
That's
think
a common one.
Get to the
Walking
effing
down your
flying one.
corridor. Yeah, the flying one. Oh my gosh, I had that
Naked.
one.
Do the
Flying
naked
or
one.
falling. The naked one is similar.
Going to school or work naked. Come
Yeah,
on, Rose.
I think it's
go.
similar to the teeth one, but
Well, it is similar to, actually, it's funny, it is similar to the teeth one. So naked. Again, it depends on the situation. There's some people who don't mind being naked, but the majority of people who come to me and say, I had that naked dream again.
Yeah.
It's the embarrassment. And you're always in front of people. It rarely do you see yourself in the mirror naked. It's usually in front of a crowd, or everybody else looks normal, and you're the one standing out in the crowd totally naked. Or part of you sometimes is partially naked and you just got nothing around you. You've got half a t-shirt that goes up to there. So again, it's that exposure. So more than the teeth, this is about exposure and people seeing you for who you are. It's being transparent. Like, you know, the emperor's new clothes, that whole idea of how people see me. All of a sudden you are exposed. That's it. And the fear of being judged, which is why we wake up and we're so embarrassed. It's a fear of judgment, people seeing you for who you are.
So where you are in that dream is important as well. Like, I remember the one where I was going to school. I was at school, like I was primary school, and I went to school. I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't got any clothes on. Like, I didn't realize till I was in the playground. So people have it when they're at work as well. Is it that you're afraid of being exposed in that situation? Is it that literal?
Yeah, when you're that little, absolutely. That's you.
Sorry, is it that literal? Is it like, you know, oh, you're at work, so it's about being exposed at work?
It's at work, or
look, it gives you clues. Yeah. Look, it does give you clues. It's not always that way, because sometimes they're total strangers, and so you would know if they're total strangers, because you think, oh, is that going to happen in the future? Has that happened in a past life experience? The dreams have so many, so you've got to trust your own emotional state of how you felt and try to work it out. So if you know what it means, then you think, okay, what am I being afraid of being judged? What's going on in my life right now that's causing me to be like this? Look at your diary. Look at what's been happening in the last couple of weeks, because that's always a good indication of the dream you have, because 2 weeks go by for the dream to actually work its way through you. It takes about that long. So you know something's happening around that time that's making you feel this way. What is it? How can you overcome this? Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. This is great.
Flying or falling. I had 2 different, I'm talking about dreams again, sorry, but to give examples. So in saying this, I had also younger, as a teenager, I used to have a flying dream, and then I since as a psychic tuned into that, and I got shown I was actually, that was me out of my body, leaving my own body as a child and flying around, being free and not constricted. So for me, I felt like that was just showing myself on a different level. But for other people, having a flying dream when they're in control, not scared. Like I used to fly to treetops and just escape. I used to get out of the bedroom window and just be out free and fly from tree to tree and not be scared. And I felt like I was actually doing it. It was lucid dreaming. I would control which tree to go to next, how high, I'd float for ages, not be scared. And so I looked into that dream, and I felt like that was just me having an experience and reminding myself what I was capable of since then. So I'm wondering, is that kind of thing for everybody if they have that kind of dream? Another one would be jumping off a cliff and falling really fast, and just before I hit the ground I would go and then fly.
Love it.
I was in control. I would never get scared because I knew I was never going to hit the ground. And that was also these both were reoccurring as well as a teenager. So
what a life you would have had. You know, you're literally ups and downs. Yeah.
Definitely. Oh my gosh, didn't everybody in their childhood and teenage years, like, whew.
Right. But look, flying is it's more common in children and teenagers than it is as older adults. A lot of people say, I used to have the flying dreams all the time, because you're at a time in your life, exactly what you said, about you're at a time in your life where you can fly, you're free, you're unrestricted. You want to explore the boundaries. So you want to, get rid of the chains that are telling you this is what you should be doing and fly free. So it's a whole sense of freedom. And yes, people who do astral travel and lucid dream, that is a common feeling that they have. And they also see that vision in their mind as they're flying. So if it's a good, when I call it a good flying dreams, that you're in control, and as you say, it feels like a positive experience, then it's about that, freedom, that escapism. The adults, more adults would use that as an escapism. Like, I'm constricted in my life. I just want to be free. I want to escape and create something else. And then, of course, the opposite of that is falling. And it's not always pleasant having that falling dream. And that's more common than flying in adults.
In adults.
Yeah. More so with adults, because you feel like you're not supported. Guess what happens? You fall off a cliff. There's nothing to hang on to. In your life, you're not feeling supported, and you don't know where you're going to land. Life is so uncertain. And people say this is an old wives' tale, but I can tell you it's not true, because it's happened to me. That if you fall and you hit the ground, you're dead. You don't even wake up. This was an old wives' tale that they used to terrify people. Right? I don't know if you've heard of it, but they say, you're never going to wake up if you dream that you've actually hit the ground. Well, I have hit the ground. I actually have fallen off a cliff and hit the ground, but I was okay. So my worst fears, I had overcome my worst fears. And that's what it taught me. And I thought, I don't have broken bones. I'm actually walking away from this crash that I've had. And it just gave me confidence to say, it's all right. You may not be supported, but you're strong enough in yourself to get over whatever it is that you need to get over and achieve. And so that was just an amazing dream. I've never forgotten. It's really amazing. But most people, as you say, before they hit the ground, because it's so scary, they wake themselves up.
And often it's like, for me, like, I'll trip over in a dream, which is interesting now. I think of that. I would have thought of that as just, whatever, I was just dreaming, I tripped over. But now I think about it, the meaning of it's like, you're feeling like you're tripping up in life. I was like, oh, wow, cool, interesting.
Cool.
But whenever I'd trip or fall in a dream, like in the bed, I'd be like I'll like literally bounce, and then my wife will be laughing at me, or she'll do it and I'll be laughing at her, because it's like, it's funny how you like real like jolt movement when you hit the ground. It really wakes you up. Yeah. So for you, when you fell, the jolt didn't wake you up. It's almost like you're expecting.
No, it was so unusual that I kept dreaming and remembered it in the morning. So it wasn't. So what it's saying to me, it's not going to be such a big shock. You're going to be fine. See, you walked away from the crash. You're fine. You're going to be fine. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's trusting. So if you can say to yourself, if I fall, I know I'll be okay. I've never had that dream since. Whereas previously, I always used to wake up before I hit the ground. But now I know I'm going to be okay. I'm okay with that. I've set myself up that in my head that's going to be absolutely fine. Or I might grow wings so I don't feel anything. Or it might be I imagine water, gentle, warm bath water that I'm going to fall into. And all those things you set your mind to do. Remember, your mind is open to suggestion because it's your subconscious mind that you're talking to.
Okay.
There's no rules, no limits. Yeah.
So you are the dream and the dreamer. So it's all in your control.
This is it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So so with dreams, do you see that as something that's coming from the subconscious mind then? Everything's subconscious, or is there like somewhere else that it is? Because how does that work then if you're having a dream where you talked about people being in the same dream world at the same time?
Yeah, well, as you well know, there's subconscious and unconscious. And we have what we call the collective unconscious, which is a lot more people. So then we're in another pool. So it's, you're talking about inception, a dream within a dream within a dream. So it's too easy to say just your subconscious. We can do, subconscious is only one aspect of the unconscious mind. There's the unconscious.
Okay, so you're telling me a dream, like oils ain't oils. A dream is not a dream. Yeah. A dream could be this, but then a dream could be coming from somewhere completely different.
How do you explain that people all over the world having the same dream at the same time? And it's happened in times where we've had major catastrophes. And I belong to a dream group, an American dream group. They do studies. So I'm always looking for what's the next dream. So during COVID, for example, at the outbreak at the beginning, we recorded dreams all over the world of the same type of dreams, same symbols that aren't normally. So, for example, I'll give you an example because this is
please. This is really interesting.
Possibly, you know, strangers who don't know each other, different parts of the world have the same dream.
Okay.
So some of the other than death was a common dream and being stuck, but it'd be people in. It was really interesting. Remember the very first thing they did when COVID hit was closing all the playground. Not so much the playgrounds. What do you call them? Like the lost my train of thought. Like Disneyland and what do you call them?
Theme parks.
Thank you. All the theme parks shut down because they were known not to be. Well, a huge amount of people dreamt of the dream park where they were trapped in the dream park, where they were all, you know, it was an isolated state, like there was no one there, but they were trapped in there and they couldn't get out. They were trapped within that. And it was like all these ghostly elements. And so this is an interesting theme, an interesting image. Where would that come from? It was because at the time, fun had gone out of life. It was now serious. You were trapped in your own shell, your own self. And the part of us that wants to have fun and socialize was shut down, was closed, was locked, right? And so people kept having those dreams of being locked away in caves, in theme parks, as we talked about, in shopping centres where they were locked in and they couldn't get out. So it was just fascinating. How does this happen? And again, we go back to not just the subconscious, but the collective unconscious, that because we all feel the same thing worldwide, we then come up with a theme, a dream-like image that suits that emotion that we're feeling.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense? Sense?
So there is on that level where we're sharing the same experience in a sense, like everyone experiences things differently for sure, but we're experiencing the same environment. So potentially we're going to have very similar dreams based on the environment and feelings that we've had in that environment. Are there times, like you said, that there's dream groups there? Are there times where people have shared lucidly a dream where they've both been lucid and met each other in a dream where something has happened? Because that would be something different because it's the same place there rather than just the same thing. Does that happen?
It happens more often than we realize. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
People tell me this. I said in the same family, saying we woke up at the same time and we were both in this dream together. It was exactly the same dream at the same time.
From clients many times, and I've helped channel what happened, for example, why they did that.
Right.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So it happens quite a lot. Again, you're saying, how do we know exactly why? Not necessarily, in that we travel in places when our bodies are resting. We do travel. Our ethereal bodies travel to these places. And if you have something in common, so if you're in the same family, you'd have some commonalities there. A lot of it is past life as well, past life experiences that come up at a particular time. So we come back in our soul families. This is what I understand. As you know, Xavier, that's something that's commonly known. And when we reincarnate, and many religions, whether you're Christian, non-Christian, believe that happens. And you're with similar spiritual people. You're with similar groups that you come back in. So no wonder you share those experiences, and you might go to a place where you had gone previously together. So I do know that people who are really good at lucid dreaming, particularly, as I said, people who meditate. I was at so I always like to research my books. And I thought, well, if I have to teach myself lucid dreaming, how do I do it? I joined a group there were a number of Buddhist monks there that had been practicing for a while. So I said, I'm going to go to the top and learn from the top. And what you had to do, one of the exercises, and in time, a number of people in the group got it, is these visualization exercises with the candles, etc. And then they set up a challenge. Okay, you are going to set up an object in the room. Tonight, you're all going to dream, and you're going to know you're in the same dream because there is an object, which I'm not telling you what it is. That's what they said to us. But we know. So you're going to tell us your dreams tomorrow. And if you see that object, we know you've been in the same dream space. And it happened.
The
And
pressure.
people in the group do it. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
That's
I
awesome.
know. It blows my mind. It really does. Another level from the toilet dream.
Yeah,
Another
it's a
level.
lot of practice to do that. Bloody toilet dream.
Yes.
And did both of those Zen monks wet themselves as well, or that doesn't matter?
Does not matter. They
just
like,
doesn't-
oh, this is nothing. This is nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. We do this all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really incredible.
I just
Okay.
thought of another myth. Oh, sorry, you can go. I'll
No,
remember.
go. Yeah.
I thought of another myth I got told one time, and I used to just think this is, I don't know if this is real or not, so you can correct me. You might not have even heard of this one, Rose. I got told that if you recognize the people and see, if you see the faces in a dream, that means it's not true, like it's not a real life thing. But if you don't see any faces and it's sort of like you remember the dream, but you're like, there were people, but I don't remember seeing any of them.
But I knew it was that person.
I knew who they were. That's more likely to be something that's actually happening in your life, or more realistic, or might happen, like a prediction, or I don't know. Yes, that I just remember getting told that if you don't see their faces, it's true. But if you just see their faces and it's clear and it's obvious, then
it's a memory.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know if that's got any weight in it or what that even means, really.
But there are two ways to think. I know what you mean. And it is
okay. I might be explaining it wrong too. I just, from being told that as a kid, I think so.
yeah. So if you see the person, it means you normally associate something with that person. It's not necessarily, because people come to me and say, oh, I've dreamt my partner died and I saw him dying and I actually saw his face, etc. So it's really traumatic for them to say that. And I said, no, it's not about that. I said, well, have you ended something recently? Has there something come to an end? Oh, yeah, we just sold our house. Okay. So were you together in this? Yes. And so what happens is that person then represents something else because you see their faces clearly. And as you say, if you know it's them, but you don't see it's them, it's more likely that the emotion, not the memory, as Mick rightly said, that's more important. Yeah, more likely to be.
Okay. There you go.
Interesting, because a lot of the times where in hypnosis, when someone recognizes somebody, and it could be someone that's passed, or it could be someone in their current life that they're with, normally I'll say, is it someone that you know who it is? Like, do you have a feeling for who it is? And they'll say, oh, that's my uncle. Like, I can't see him, but it's my uncle. You know, like they just know, they have the sense of the person, even though it's just a figure. So it's the same sort of thing in dreams. It's that attachment that you have where you know on a deeper level that's what that person is, rather than a visual and a memory.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Same as channeling. When I go into a past life, I'll be in a past life for somebody, and then I'll just get told it's somebody, or in my own. Like I remember one of my own ones, I was a little girl and I looked over and I saw a little boy that was my brother, and in my head it just told me that's my son now. Like you just know. So it's like I guess in the dream you're just like, you're channeling, I guess.
Yeah.
It's telling
it's the same brainwave, it's the same dream wave that you're in. Yeah.
And which is very similar to I love how, again, we've interviewed someone who everything links up. The hypnic happened in a dream. This keeps happening in all of our podcasts. So everything's connected. Really cool.
Well, maybe it's looking at more the source of what things possibly are, because no one can say what things are or what they aren't. It's just what we recognize. So it's nice to see some themes there, because if we're recognizing the same things, then potentially that's more real, I guess.
Yeah.
So Rose, do people, I don't know how, like, I know you have books out and you've been interviewed many times, even on TV. Do people book in with you to have like a dream interpretation reading? Do you do talks? Like, what do people do to find out about what their dreams mean? Do they get you a book and figure it out themselves, or do they get a consultation and they tell you all their dreams? Boy, someone who'll actually listen to it because it's actually interesting to them, and then you tell them what it means, or you help them figure it out. What happens?
Yeah, all of the above, really.
Cool.
So yep. So on my website, I do. People want to go in deep into their dream. I really delve very deeply into it. So we do consultations. I have books. I have cards. I have a journal that's out on dreams, so that people can look for themselves. Yeah, so it's a bit of everything really. I haven't run classes yet this year because as you know, with COVID the way it's been, but my passion is to get out there and really run some classes, and people can come in and share their dreams. Everyone is interested, by the way, because we all dream similarly. I mean, these common themes, you're like, oh yeah, I remember I had that dream once too.
Yes.
But they're not, we think they're like just ours, and we think, oh, it's an embarrassing dream, but everyone shares them. This is what I find. I was overseas lecturing in London at the MBS there, and I thought, oh, they're going down to have completely different dreams.
Yeah.
No, I was wrong. It was exactly the same dreams that I get here. So we do share those dreams.
Oh, congratulations.
So
that makes you an international expert now.
hey.
You thought you were just a local expert, but that's great. You're an international expert.
Well, everything's international. I think we're all connected. You've chose the right word. It doesn't matter where you are. And this is our subconscious speaking to us and our unconscious. So we're all human beings. It doesn't matter where we come from. The dreams all carry the same messages, and they're all so similar. We're more similar than we are different. That's what I've learned.
Speaking of messages, though, I really want to get to a couple of more theme ones, because I'll put in the show notes. I'll timestamp the show notes so people can look up a couple of different things. Are there, like we've had the teeth falling out, we've had the falling, we've had the flying, we've had the snakes. What else is there that's like a crazy common theme that could mean different things?
Okay, just on top of my head, because there are a few more. The exam, the one where you go into an exam, you've forgotten your pen, you've got no paper, you go into the wrong room. Have you guys had that one?
Yeah.
I haven't.
I have, yeah.
Okay, that's again a really common one. So it is frustrating and it's embarrassing, and you, as I said, you can't get to where you need to be because of all these obstacles in the way. It's an obstacle dream, and again, it reflects about your readiness in life. Are you ready to take the next step into this new learning? Because a test is about being tested, obviously. And are you up for it? Are you up for this new stage in your life and what you're trying to achieve? Are you below standards? Are you comparing yourself to other people? How do you shape up? How do you measure up to other people? And so it's like a self-expression of where you see yourself going. And a lot of it, because you're stressed about it, you think, I'm not up for this. I'm going to stuff up. I'm not going to get good marks. But everyone else is. Everyone looks like they know what they're doing except for me. What's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah. So really a reflecting of where you are in your life right now.
Makes
so
sense.
examine another big one, yeah?
Yep. Running, where you're trying to run and your legs are just going slow-mo. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't get away.
Yeah. So that's a chase and running dream, and they sort of go together.
Okay.
We all know about the shadow and the Jungian term, your shadow self. When you're chased by something invisible, something dark and menacing, sometimes you can see who it is, sometimes you can't. So the shadow the two go together, so I'm going to explain both. So the shadow is those parts of yourself that you have neglected, that you don't want to look at, that you don't want to let out into the world, you're ashamed of, the shadow parts of ourselves that don't want to see the light of day. And you keep them hidden. And but the chase in your dream is when your mind is free and it has no hold on you, they come out in these shapes, in this scary shape. And the reason they're chasing you is to ask you, let me out, let me, integrate me into your everyday life. Don't put me away into this perfect role that we always have to try to be so perfect in front of everyone else. So the things that, as you say, the shameful things that we feel we're ashamed of. And so, of course, you're running away. Normally, if it's not the shadow, which it has faceless, it's something else that's threatening that you're running away from. And, of course, you can't get far. Well, why would you? Because the idea is you're supposed to turn around and face this
So you want to lose it in that dream, maybe, and turn around.
Spot on. I've done this with kids.
Cool.
I've done this with kids because it's one of their biggest fears is the boogeyman chasing me. And I said, well, how about we turn around and let's say you have these superpowers, and I do a lot of diarising with them. They're journaling and drawing of these superpowers. And you turn around and go, right, monster, what do you want? I'm here. I can beat you. And when they just do that action of turning around and facing it, it
Wow.
dissipates. That shadow, that running away and being stuck goes away because you
Right,
finally
you're taking them
face
intentionally.
these.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
I've got a
So
cheeky one to ask at the risk of embarrassing myself, but we have to. We have to go there. I can't.
Yes.
One of
Awesome.
these common themes:
Do it.
sex dreams.
Okay, I'm out. Thanks, everyone.
Like I
thought
may or may not have those quite often, mainly when I was pregnant, weirdly enough. So that could be hormones or something. I don't know. Every
Yeah.
pregnancy, I wake up and go, what? Wow.
Good or bad?
okay.
I don't even
Good.
know if I should be
Well,
asking. Okay,
many,
cool. Mum.
many people or something. And sometimes those kind of dreams happen.
Wow.
I don't, now this could be bad, the answer, I don't know. But
Don't answer this.
other people, that's fine. Whatever. I'm an open book, really. It's just, yeah, that's why I said the risk of embarrassment.
Sounds like it.
I got asked this on national television and I had to
Okay,
keep a
good.
straight face. So this is a lot. This is much better because you can edit it if you don't
I
want.
know
We're not
it's
editing.
just
We are
me.
so not editing this.
It's
This
not-
is not being edited. 100%.
Not
This is
just
staying.
me. I'm asking on behalf of all the people wondering right
Righto.
now. I'm not going into details, but yeah, I would love to know.
Look, there are so many scenarios we could go into, but it is one of the top most common dreams. It does fall into that common. Yeah, it is. It is so common. Look, I can't think of anyone who hasn't had one of those dreams in one form or another.
Yeah.
And again, they're not to be taken literally.
I would think not. I would hope not.
No, I would think not. Look, when you're pregnant, your hormones are the feel-good rush hormones are definitely there, and they do affect your dreams in all sorts of ways.
I had heard that, so I dismissed all the things I saw in my dreams, and that I did.
That's right. It could be dangerous. Having sex with multiple people. Yeah. So the whole idea of sex itself, again, depending on the scenarios, because they all have different meanings, of course.
Depends on the feeling.
But the idea is, yeah, it's connection. It's all about wanting to connect, right? And again, the dreams can't say to you, oh, you know what? You want to have more intimacy in your life or connection with people. Even self-love, because a lot of times it's actually about self-love as well. So how does a dream speak to you in symbols so that you can understand it? So obviously it's a feel-good. It's a feel-good experience because it's saying, well, the more intimacy and more connection that I have is going to make me feel good about myself. Some say it's a little bit not so good when you think it's your ex that you're having sex with, or you're having an affair with your colleague or your boss who you absolutely hate anyway.
Yeah, that's
so they say to me, this is crazy. How can this be? You know, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me. I had dreams where I've been with somebody that I'm like, oh, why? No.
Yeah.
It's did I think about them yesterday, and then why am I having that dream? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and so this is what I mean. It's multi-layered, but it's all about, okay, well, what is it about that person that you like? Something about that person you want to have, something that person has. So it's about desire. It goes beyond. It's about desiring something that person has or you want within yourself. That's why when you dream of an affair with someone you least expect, it's like if it's your boss and you can't stand him, but he has power.
Yep.
Wow, I would desire that for myself. And therefore that integration, that physical integration that you see in your dream that results in sex is about having that in you. It's like integration. Yeah.
So you don't have to be embarrassed and you don't have to be ashamed. It's literally just symbolic of something else. You don't have to feel like you're a freak or what's going on.
Exactly. And if it's with a movie star, which is a very common thing with celebrities, like, oh, I can't tell you how many people have said to me, I'm having sex with a celebrity, I'm going in your dreams, which is common. It's like, are you feeling that you're not being, that you're not being, spotlighted in your life, like you're shy and you want to be more in the limelight.
Or energetically connecting. Wow, that's just funny that we have to do the physical connection in the dream to help. Like maybe they're putting their confidence or their star energy or whatever it is in you.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, they
We
give
went
you
literal there.
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
speaking, but it's like the connection thing. Yeah. So they're like, maybe it's a way of actually channeling or connecting with their vibes or whatever it is. And you're actually taking some of that on in your subconscious because you had that dream. So if you want to be better at something in particular or aspire to be more confident or whatever it is, you could set the intention to have a dream. Maybe it doesn't have to be one of those dreams, but anyway, you could have that connection in some way with a person that you aspire to be like to help. That's my brain's just like you can.
My gosh, so many people have just had this massive sense of relief with that information around that weird sex dream they had. It's like, okay, cool. That's all right. Excellent. I don't have a thing for my boss secretly.
Yes, that
No,
helps
no.
sort that out. And what about when they're cheating? If your partner cheats on you in a dream,
Yeah.
those people.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah. That's a really common one too,
that
actually.
one.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I think I've had one before as well myself. I'm just trying to remember, but yeah, people have told me about those. So some kind of insecurities about something, but they might not think.
Yeah.
Some people think, oh no, they're going to cheat on me. It doesn't mean it's literal. It's something else that you're lacking in the relationship or something, maybe.
Yeah, pretty much. So the one who does the cheating is usually lacking, could be the man or the woman, whichever, doesn't matter. It's like they're cheating because they're not getting their needs met in the way that they want to. It doesn't have to be a sexual needs. It can just be their needs are not being met. So again, that intimacy with someone else, that connection means that they're getting that, they're dreaming of what it would be like to have it, right? If you're the one who's being cheated on, it's like, what does it say about you? What are you, again, the insecurity comes out. Am I good enough? It's all about your own insecurities, not that your partner is doing the cheating. It's more your own self-worth at the moment is low. You've got to look at that.
I've heard of some people would tell me that they woke up and they were really angry at their partner for cheating on them in their dream.
Ha.
I have a go at them or get all funny with them for the day. It's like, doesn't mean they're going to do that or they're thinking of that. You're the one having the dreams. It's your stuff.
That's right. Yeah. But what needs are not being met? Maybe they're angry because their needs are not being met.
Yeah.
Mm.
Wow. So many topics. I love people to comment on this podcast or on the YouTube, or email us if they have more questions for Rose from the podcast, or if you would just like to share something about your dream or an epiphany you've had through this discussion, that would be fantastic. And of course, if you make comments on this podcast, we have like a new moon giveaway that we give away prizes.
We do
every month. So if you go into the draw, if you comment on our YouTube channel.
Yep, more incentive to get involved, and it'd be great to drag you back on the show again too, Rose. I had one more thing, and it's probably way too deep, and we're going to have you back on if you'll come back on the show to talk about. But that was a question I had before when I'd forgotten it, and I'm glad I did.
Back. Yep.
Okay. One of the things that you've talked about before has been that collective dream, or collective things that have come up. So the monks that had practiced it as well, and people that have had it in the maybe non-conscious mind or no consciousness. One thing that comes up a lot with people who have experienced ayahuasca, the shamanic hallucinogen that they make from a root bark and a leaf. And also other people that have had other versions of dimethyltryptamine, is that they see the same visions and they're completely out of their body. They're completely not awake or aware at all. But ayahuasca, they talk about the woman from the jungle that's like the healer that comes to people. And this is people from the West that go to, parts of Peru to have this ceremony. They see the same people.
Wow.
And so they name her as like the woman of the jungle that comes and helps you. So they see these beings, and dimethyltryptamine, a lot of people see the same fairies. They're like fairy people. So these people Richard Straussman did a study on it, did a clinical study on it to work out, what was happening. And he freaked out when they all had the same experiences, these people from different walks of life. Is this like when we talk about dream realm and going into these different states, so we're talking pretty heavy dream world, is this the same kind of thing as well as like some of these certain hallucinogens where you're seeing the same thing? Is it going to a different place?
Pretty, yeah, you could call it that. You could call it that. I mean, there's parallel universes, as you know. You extend. I mean, it is a long conversation because it goes. I mean, I hate to simplify it and make it look like, oh, it's no big deal. But it
Are
actually
there,
is.
okay, are there beings in dreams like there are when people have these kind of drug-induced sleep, if that makes
Yeah.
sense? Are there things that have come up where there's other beings in these dream realms that are real beings from another place? Or
They sure are. Look, I
wow.
truly believe that. I haven't tried it myself, but you know, it's people who like see dead people or see dream guides. We are really limited in our everyday lives, is what we see. You look at some animals, some amazing tests have done with animals and insects, what they can see that beyond us, infrared, all sorts of things that we can't see. When you ingest certain hallucinogens and certain chemicals, it releases parts of our brain that don't work every other day, for example.
Sure.
So there are things within that we can't see. We do go into an altered state. And the altered state, as I said, we leave our bodies. We don't necessarily are in our bodies. We leave. It's like out-of-body experiences. You've heard of near-death experiences where they say they go into a tunnel, etc. That is a state of being, really. So, and I'm not surprised if the spirits of the place that where that was grown in, for example, if it's South America, then that is embodied in the actual drink, in the plant itself, then brings out the same images. So it's ingested, it's in our physical bodies, but it's also in our external bodies. The same.
From a dream perspective, sorry, so outside of what happens with, you know, these particular hallucinogens, because I don't expect you to be an expert on that, in dream, but there are certain beings that are in that state. I'm just saying, when you do sleep, without taking anything, you go to sleep at a certain level, are they finding certain beings and things in that realm as well?
Yeah, accessing
you're seeing that
level of consciousness while you sleep, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, look, I've had direct contact with people who have actually gone into that world that we talk about, and they are called, this particular person I'm thinking of, when someone is dying, she's called in to, when they're asleep, before they die, she's called in from the dream world. Now, she's an ordinary person, but in her dream, she can go through a state whereby she's no longer physical, but she travels in a out-of-body experience to where this person needs her, and she takes them into where they need to be ready to die. And she can just describe this world like I've never heard before. It is unreal. Again, she sees certain beings on the way there, what they look like, who they are, what state it's in. And it gives me goosebumps because she can describe exactly where she is and where she can take the soul of the person before they die to make them aware this is where you're going to be going soon. And so she's really phenomenal. And there are people who can do this. And I don't have the answer as to how in a scientific way, but I do know it's a state, it's a non-physical, and yet it's physical, if that makes sense. But it's definitely another state that we're not aware of. One day we may be able to know where that is in our brain. Our brain is capable of so much more than what we know right now.
Yeah, it's interesting. Right? We talk about it like it's an out-of-body experience, but it's probably not that. It's just that we're not focusing our existence in the body at the time.
Yeah.
It's not like we travel outside of the body. It's just that we're not confined to the body and the five senses.
And the distractions of everything that's going on, we're in that way more relaxed state. We're way more receptive. That's why just the average person would often hear, say, from a loved one crossing over, as they're falling asleep, they're more likely to hear their name being called or see someone in spirit at that time when they're more relaxed. So if you're doing that and you're just falling asleep, goodness, imagine what we're doing when we actually are and we have nothing in the way at all. Amazing.
So dreams are not dreams. No. There's multiple different types of dreams. Silly dreams that we think are just dumb are actually probably really important messages trying to come across. And sex dreams don't make you a deviant, they're symbolic for you. So you need to look at it from a symbolic level and don't be ashamed of them. And there's other realms that you can travel to within these dreams. You can practice to be lucid in dreams, and there's ways to do that. And the one thing we didn't cover was poor Xavier can't remember her dreams when she wants to. Are there things that she can do to practice that? When I say she, I mean everyone.
Everybody that can't remember.
To practice, is there ways that you can remember your dream? And then we can let you go, and then we'll drag you back.
Yes.
Well, yeah, it's always hard because I always say to people, write it down as soon as you remember, or even the feeling, whatever comes. But you've got to remember that to start off with.
That's my problem.
I guess it's a little secret that I use. There's a couple of little secrets that I use. I take vitamin B12.
Oh, okay.
When I am a little bit flat, vitamin B group, as you know, it gives you, it lights up part of your brain. You're creative. I'm a creative. So when you're depleted of your creativity, the vitamin B groups give you that energy. But the B12 has been known, which is safe to take in reasonable amounts, has been known to hit that dream center. And when you have more vitamin B12, you're likely to remember your dreams more. It just, for whatever reason, it affects that part of our brain that just stays lit a little bit longer before you lose it.
You need to get a sponsorship from Swiss or something. Swiss have a lot of money. That's why I mentioned Swiss.
Maybe
Get in contact with Rose. So B12, okay. I wasn't expecting that.
When
wow.
you're physical, so you find that when you're in optimum physical state, you'll remember your dreams more than when you're feeling depleted. And the B group is the one that gives you the up, and the B12 is the best one for your dream state. So I would say make sure you're healthy. You're healthy.
I thought I was pretty healthy. Now I'm obviously need B12, right? Okay.
Correct.
Well, we all need a little bit more.
Extra B12, right? Done.
Get a little bit extra more, and see like, try it for a week. What I'd say is try for a week, because a lot of them are easily go into your body, even if they're fizzy ones that you drink. So that goes straight to the heart of the matter. And try it. And again, set the intention. You have to practice the intention. You've got to make sure that they're important. Otherwise, you think, oh, I'm just going to go to sleep because I'm tired. And you think about your problems tomorrow. Oh, I've got to get up tomorrow and do this. You already lost the dream. There's no room for the dream to come in because you've already pushed it away. Okay. You have to make it important. And Indigenous people always have made it an important thing. I was brought up in a family where we really valued our dreams, because it could mean something important for the family, not just for yourself.
No wonder you chose that family, because this is what you were going to be doing when you grew up.
I always wondered why, because I am the black sheep of the family. I always wondered, why the heck did I do that?
Yep.
As Xavier calls it, the rainbow sheep. You're the rainbow sheep of the family.
Better than the black sheep, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. Yes, I set that intention, and sometimes I write it down under my, I mean, and I know it sounds corny, right? But if you write it down, it goes from hand to brain to reading it, remembering, slipping it under the pillow, because that's an action that the brain's going to remember, and say, I'm going to remember my dream. My dream's important to me. And then hopefully you kind of you mind the dream, you manufacture it. The moment you remember it, you wake up. Forget about switching off the alarm, or sometimes you might even dream before, get up before the alarm goes off. You have to go up to the toilet. Just write it down, even if it's a feeling, whatever. We lose 80% of our dreams in 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, 80% of your dream's gone. It's not a long time. So you've got to capture it straight away. And that's really important. And the more you do it, the better. It's practice. It's a practice.
But then I think, well, maybe what we've learned today, we might not have to remember them. It could be irrelevant, because if you were meant to remember it, you would. So, because that's.
But if you want to remember it, you probably need to, because it's probably something that it's like lucid dreaming. Not everyone wants to lucid dream, but if you're really trying, maybe it's because part of you, it's important to do that.
It's just fun to learn a new skill and try to get better at something. So don't just give up. A lot of people don't stick to things. They try once or twice. I know this, trying to teach people how to manifest and change their thoughts to more positive. Like they try it for a week and then they don't do it anymore. I wonder why they're not great at it. So you got to be consistent and put in the whole. Nothing happens like that. So you actually got to do the work. So that's great. Love the tips, Rose. This has been absolutely amazing. But we will let you go. I'm going to have knocks on my door soon as well, and
fair enough.
I'm sure, it's just one of those days. This has been such an interesting conversation. Absolutely loved it. You were fascinating, and I'm sure you're going to be getting a lot of phone calls and bookings of people wanting to just tell you all their dreams and help them work some stuff out. But even then, you've just opened the minds of so many people to understand that dreams are so important and interesting, which is really, really great, because a lot of people just don't give any thought to them. But if you really pay attention to the dreams, it can help you with your life. It can help you work on what you need to work on, and heal some things that need to be healed, which is just really helpful. So thank you so much for doing the work that you do, and thank you so much for being on our podcast and taking time out of your day. Yes, I'm speaking for both of us, clearly.
We're very grateful for you.
Thank you guys for asking me. I'm really thrilled. I'm just so excited, and it's been such a great conversation. Feels like we're sitting around the table, just having a chat, and I just love that feeling that we're so open. And thank you for the question. They're really good questions too. So thank you.
We love the feedback too. That's beautiful.
Excellent. So thank you, and we'll drag you back on one day.
Okay, I'll be waiting. Okay, lovely. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's it for another episode, but that doesn't have to be the end of the conversation.
Feel free to leave your comments on our YouTube channel, or for those podcast listeners, you can email us at mickandthepsychic@gmail.com to leave your feedback or questions.
I'm a certified hypnotherapist and timeline regression therapist. If you wish to contact me to explore the source of an issue you're facing, just book a session at hearnhypnosis.com.au and include the promo code MATP for 10% off. You can contact me on Insta and Facebook at hearnhypnosis.
Check out my website at optimisticxavier.com.au if you feel you'd like to connect with me as a psychic medium, spiritual mentor, or intuitive coach. Include the promo code MATP for 10% discount. You can also find me on Insta, LinkedIn, and Facebook.
We look forward to connecting with you again next time as we attempt to leave no stone unturned.
Bye.
All right, cool. I reckon that should be okay.